All right, let's do a deep dive into the 2025 Main Streets Across the World report. We're going to focus on the world's most expensive, most contested retail real estate.
And there's a big story this year.
A huge story. For the first time, London's new Bond Street has actually taken the top spot globally, which is, well, it's a monumental shift.
It really is. And before we get into the numbers, it's probably good to set the scene. I mean, this report looks at headline rents in 141 of these best-in-class city locations.
And when we say the dollar figures, just so you know, we're talking about the annual costs per square foot.
Exactly. Or SQY.
Okay, so let's talk about the new champion. The source shows New Bond Street's rents didn't just, inch up, they surged 22% in the last year alone.
And that 22% figure is what changed everything. It puts the rent at, what, an eye-watering $2,231 per square foot.
Wow.
Yeah. And that jump is what allowed it to leapfrog Milan's Via Monte Napoleone, which is very close behind at 2,179 TARs.
And the longtime U.S. frontrunner.
And, of course, New York's Upper Fifth Avenue, it's now in third place at an even $2,000 per square foot.
A 22% jump for property that is already that prime is. It's just astonishing. You have to wonder, is that sustainable? Or are we seeing some kind of a bubble?
Well, what the source suggests is that this growth is actually pretty robust. It's driven by some really solid fundamentals. Think of it as a triple threat.
Okay.
You have incredibly strong demand from retailers, you have critically limited supply, and then continued investment in the street itself.
So it's the basics of economics, just on a global scale.
Exactly. The report even says the prime jewelry section, between Clifford Street and Burlington Gardens, is fiercely contested. Brands are just locking in long-term leases to get a spot.
Which brings up the big question, right? If it's that hard and that expensive to get a tiny physical footprint, why is it still so essential in our digital world?
That's the fascinating part. I mean, these streets function as global stages. That's the term they use. It's for brand storytelling, for architecture, for consumer engagement.
So they're more than just shops.
Oh, much more. They're flagship experiences. You just can't replicate that kind of visibility or that cultural importance online.
Okay, so let's look beyond the top three. The global average for rent growth was about 4.2%, but there were some numbers in the regional data that really made my jaw drop.
You must be talking about the Americas.
The Americas, yeah. It led all regions with 7.9% growth, but there was one street in particular.
It has to be Sao Paulo. Oscar Freire Jardins.
Yes, a 65% increase.
A remarkable 65%. That's not a rise, it's a launch. It tells you so much about, regional confidence and investment flooding into these established luxury zones.
Meanwhile, Europe was steady, about 4% growth overall, but the standout performer wasn't London this time.
Right. That honor actually went to Budapest's Fashion Street, which saw a 33% rise.
And on the other side of the world, Asia Pacific.
It's a bit slower. It grew about 2.1%. Japan showed some really solid gains. Ginza was up 10%, but that was sort of offset by declines in places like Hong Kong. Shimshetsu dropped about 6%.
So to pull this all together, the big takeaway is that these prime retail spots they're just incredibly resilient. They're outperforming almost every other market trend.
Exactly. And the outlook is pretty good, too. You have inflation that's starting to ease, consumer sentiment is stabilizing, and this is the big one. International tourism is really bouncing back.
So as we wrap this up, let's leave you with one final thought from the report. It suggests the continuing importance of physical retail is actually going to get stronger even as our lives get more digital. Why would that be?
At the end of the day, it's because that physical space is still the only place for what the report calls deep and meaningful brand engagement.
So it's about connection.
It's all about connection. A luxury brand has to create a sense of theater, a feeling that an algorithm just can't deliver. And these main streets are where that happens. Is why they'll always be relevant.